Welcome back with another banger. It's the React Files. Hope you're having a good night. Let's get straight to it.
Video is about to be insane. The skies are going freaking crazy. They said we're gonna have a new moon at 33 foot across. But what is this by the moon? It's not a lens flare. She's about to go in from a different angle with the lights off to show you guys.
Because of the light in the background, but no, you can still see it. Two moons.
It looks like a star. Look at that thing. That's crazy. Things in the sky are crazy everywhere. Do you remember in January when I said we'll have alien disclosure this year? Y'all aren't ready for this. NASA partner says alien announcement to come within weeks as he claims they've found it. Not to mention this dude right here has been seeing these same exact UFOs in the sky. It's all over his page, y'all. Do you remember when allegedly, I believe the claim was that the James Webb saw a non-human artifact coming to Earth within a few weeks? Things are starting to make a whole lot of sense with everything I've been showing you guys. Now look right here, this thing was seen in the auroras last night. I wonder why this certain pattern would just pop up in the sky. And of course I just showed you guys that hours ago there were the grays hanging up the jellyfish UFO. And by the way, it's really weird how just now, Florida's housing market is skyrocketed. I can't tell y'all who owns a lot of these properties. Anyways, things are wild in the sky. This was Florida. Do you see what I freaking mean, y'all? 2024 is gonna end with aliens.
Look at the sun, y'all. Look at the sun. This is the energy that the sun is radiating right now. Look at this. So we had a couple of flares yesterday, and amongst a couple of flares, we received one huge X flares and a couple of N flares after that. This flare was so powerful that it causes distortion in the GOES X-ray flux, which is this instrument that is used to monitor solar activity.
But of course, it was the Earth-directed X-class flare in CME that we are most concerned about. It is due to impact in the coming hours, and NOAA has forecasted KP8, level 4 geomagnetic storm conditions. We'll see what happens when it arrives.
So this means the power grid is going to be affected, hence Hurricane Milton, and then the 19 tornadoes that touched down in Florida, and everything that's happening around the world. But this also means a lot of people are going to see the auroras tonight. I think it's going to be as low as Texas. But this also means the frequency in the atmosphere is extremely high. Let me ask y'all a question. How y'all feeling? Do y'all got headaches, pressure, tension? Y'all feel a lot of heavy pressure on top of y'all? Like, there's a lot going on in the activities right now. Let me show y'all why. Look at this. Look at this. This is the sun today, y'all. Check this out, y'all. This is in Pennsylvania. So the northern states are already seeing the effects of this X flare, y'all. That's crazy. Now, you can only see this in front of the sun like this. Clouds only in front of the sun. The whole sky is blue, y'all. The whole sky is practically blue, but only clouds in front of the sun. Look at that. Look how big that thing is. So y'all know, y'all see what's going on, man. Big things are happening on the planet right now. Y'all need to be out in nature grounded. Y'all need to take this energy in, because this is what they mean by taste the rainbow. These are light codes to your DEA. Y'all need to go out there and take that energy in. This is ascending you. Our powers are activating. This is what the green light does. It's the matrix code. Another name for this is light codes, alright? We are the light beings, children of the sun. Let's get this shit, y'all. Peace in.
Shout out to Conscious Juice. making us aware there's geomagnetic storms that's been happening. I was totally unaware. Like, wow, that would explain a lot.
Satellites and the electric grid, and this has a KP. You might be able to see the northern lights tonight. They're caused by geomagnetic storms, and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration issued a geomagnetic storm warning of a level G4. A G4 geomagnetic storm can cause some issues with satellites and the electric grid, and this has a KP rating of 8 out of 9. This is a pretty extreme geomagnetic storm. Basically, the sun had a coronal mass ejection, literally ejecting plasma, which traveled through space and is going to hit Earth. This specific coronal mass ejection arrived at Earth yesterday, October 10th at 11:15 a.m. Eastern Time, and it arrived at 1.5 million miles per hour. This is not a reason to panic. This is very normal for the sun. We're reaching a peak in its 11-year cycle, so actually this is going to start happening more and more often. The best part about our solar satellites in space is it gives us ample warning to put our electric grid and satellites into protective modes, and everybody has been warned. Everything is going to be okay. Here's a map of the likely scenario for the auroras tonight. You can see a better look here. Above the yellow, it would be like on the northern horizon. It's kind of unpredictable, but it should peak between 2 p.m. and 2 a.m. Eastern Time. This is like a best case scenario. This map is from a similar storm in May when everyone saw the auroras. This is what I'm hoping for. Most of the United States would be able to see the northern lights. Anyway, look outside tonight and send me a picture if you see them.
Shout out to Astro Alexander explaining that very well. I didn't get to see it myself. Let me know in the comments down below if you have.
Look, y'all, we just had a huge geomagnetic storm. I made a video a few days ago warning y'all, and look what this energy has just done. It's basically just supercharged the whole United States, y'all, and they're telling people to stay indoors because this can have a negative impact on some individuals. Not to mention, if you've been paying attention, this is also negatively impacting our grid, so at any moment this can lead to a Carrington event.
This is a warning, everyone. Electric currents are flowing through the ground, through rocks and soil in the U.S. in response to the geomagnetic storm from today. Shown here on this map from 10-10-24.
Now the red zones that you see on the map, specifically over here, is where the geoelectric charges are actually higher, and this means danger to some people. You want to know what the cause of this is? Right over here, the aurora borealis. How can this be dangerous to people? Look at this, y'all. We have been getting these everywhere. People are sending me these all over the place. I couldn't keep up, man. Look at this, y'all. Look at this. I believe this is in Colorado. Yeah, look at that everywhere, y'all. Everywhere. People have been seeing it everywhere. There we go. Another one over here. Look like candy corn, huh? These colors are impeccable. Impeccable. I mean, look at this. Look at that one. This shit is literally raining down, y'all. Look at this. It's raining down. Now, if you don't know what this is, again, TikTok, this is strictly for entertainment purposes only. But yes, y'all, this is high levels of yes.
The levels are confirmed dangerous, and we have not seen an event like this since the Carrington event in 1859. It said that the ground is currently charged. Our electromagnetic field is declined to a scary place. We may be about to experience a pole shift.
Like I said, how can something this beautiful be dangerous? Now y'all know why they're going underground. But if you guys know what the sun does, this is exactly what the sun is doing. But this video is strictly for entertainment purposes only. I am only raising awareness to interesting situations during these interesting times. This thing is ramping up, y'all, and we just entered the peak of solar cycle 25. Let's continue to get this shift, y'all. Peace in.
Shout out to Conscious Juice. Maybe that can explain why we're seeing the aurora borealis. Did she say a possible pole shift? What does that even mean?
Okay, so NASA shuttles have recently recorded a mysterious lifelike entity in space. Is this proof of extraterrestrial life, or is this a new understanding of matter? I have gotten so many DMs about this, so let's talk about this scientific research paper. Extraterrestrial life in the thermosphere. So they've been observing what they're calling plasmas up to 1 kilometer in size. That's more than a half mile in size. And they've been displaying behaviors that are not associated with inanimate objects in space, like interacting with each other. So they've been photographed congregating, diving into thunderstorms, gathering around satellites, approaching and appearing outside of the windows of NASA space shuttles, following and even colliding and intersecting with one another. Others engage in what appear to be hunter-predatory behavior, tracking, then accelerating and piercing other plasmas, displaying characteristics of lifelike plasmas. It even speculates that the Foo Fighters in the 1940s might be what this was. During World War II, unidentified objects, described as glowing orbs, would follow pilots and create formations around them. Okay, so what is plasma? It's basically a super hot gas, and it's the fourth state of matter, meaning solid, liquid, gas, plasma. Okay, so let's say ice is a solid. You heat it up, it becomes water, liquid. You heat it more, it becomes steam, essentially gas. And if you were to heat it up more and more and more, that would be plasma. Plasma is very affected by the magnetic fields. It can create its own electric and magnetic fields, and it sometimes emits light. Scientists believe that the sun is basically a giant ball of plasma. Things like aurora borealis is caused by plasma. So it's interesting seeing it display lifelike behaviors, which suggests that plasma might be more complex than originally thought. So is part of the reason we haven't been able to find alien life is because we're looking in the wrong place? So us and every known living thing, from tiny bacteria to every single thing on Earth, we're carbon-based life. It means we're built around carbon atoms. And we also need water to survive. What if there's plasma-based life? And this is where the intelligent plasma hypothesis comes in, which suggests that the fourth state of matter can actually be the building block for a unique form of life. In 2007, plasma crystals were discovered, and that these plasma crystals can actually twist and create a double helix that resembles DNA. This suggests that it can store information, display lifelike behaviors, and can change our understanding of life in the universe. Now, the paper speculates that this is not life itself, that it's pre-life, or another possible origin of life that would not be carbon-based. Now, some are saying this is exciting news, that this is great news for us who want alien disclosure. However, this plasma thing is not new at all. These plasma theories have been used for a long time to debunk UFO experiencers, specifically the work of Philip Klass. Now, if we look at some CIA declassified documents, you can find this article from Force magazine from 1968, where they talk about Philip Klass's explanation for UFO phenomenon, that UFOs are simply electrified plasma of air, where literally it says all of the same exact stuff. How can they be so large? How can they maneuver and appear to be intelligent? And that the plasma theory is the most plausible explanation for UFOs. Another CIA document from 1988 talks about a UFO sighting in China, which was later debunked to just be an ionized ball of gas, plasma. So even though this seems like an exciting new revelation, it's giving just a weather balloon, old school debunker energy. Even the metallic air bubble, since the Pentagon hasn't been able to explain the metallic orbs flying all over the world, such as this one, for example, even brings up the 120 incidents witnessed by military pilots. But we live in an atmosphere that is mostly made of gas, like the air that we breathe. So whenever there's a lot of electrical energy, it can turn gas into plasma, such as solar flares, eclipses, waxing and waning of sunlight, radiation from radio transmitters. If there was a UFO using some type of advanced technology, then the gas, the air around it, could actually create plasma. And this is called a coronal discharge. So just because there's plasma doesn't mean that there's not also a UFO causing the gas around it to turn into plasma.
It sounds like the plasma is sentient, almost like Venom from Marvel. Shout out to JK Ultra. It's crazy how it mentioned geomagnetic storms.
Today we're diving deep into the ancient roots of a festival that many of us know as Halloween. But did you know its origins trace back to the Celtic festival of Samhain? Let's unravel the mysteries together. The tradition dates back over 2,000 years to the Celts who resided in what is now Ireland, the UK, and northern France. For them, November 1st wasn't just another day. It marked the end of summer, the harvest, and the onset of a cold, dark winter, a season often linked with human mortality. The Celts believed that the boundary between the living and the dead blurred on the eve of their new year, October 31st. This was the night of Samhain, a time when ghosts were believed to return to Earth. But it wasn't all spooky. The presence of these spirits was thought to empower the Druids, or Celtic priests, to predict the future, a crucial comfort during the bleak winter months. And how did they commemorate this event? With grandeur. Druids would construct massive sacred bonfires where people congregated to burn crops and animals as offerings to the Celtic gods. And here's a fun fact. The Celts would don costumes made of animal heads and skins. attempting to foretell each other's futures, while other tales say that the Irish people would dress their children up as demons as to disguise them from the dead roaming the earth, thus protecting them for another year. Sounds a bit like the origins of our modern-day Halloween costumes, perhaps? But how did this ancient festival evolve into today's Halloween? By 43 AD, the Romans had conquered most of the Celtic territory. Over the next 4 centuries, they merged 2 of their own festivals with Samhain. One was Feralia, a day to remember the dead. The other honored Pomona, the goddess of fruit and trees. Ever wondered why we bob for apples on Halloween? Well, Pomona's symbol is the apple. From ancient Celtic rituals to Roman festivals, the evolution of Samhain has given us the rich tapestry of traditions we associate with Halloween today.
Okay, so this might be my most controversial video ever, but the Joker 2 was absolutely beautiful and brilliant, and I'm gonna tell you why. So the movie starts with a Looney Tunes style animation that very blatantly gives you the theme of the film, the Joker and his shadow. This is a reference to Carl Jung's work, where the shadow is an unconscious part of ourself that we either repress or deny, that is not aligned with the self-image that we have of ourselves. It includes desires, impulse, and weakness. Arthur Fleck's image of himself is to bring laughter to the world. This is also very directly stated in the movie. However, the shadow aspect is the Joker. Repressed pain, chaos, and even murder. This shadow aspect of the self also comes up in the internal family systems. Often due to trauma, a part of ourselves will break off and become exiled, and other parts of ourself will take on other roles to protect that exiled part of ourself. This is what's called parts work. We also see this in Gabor Mate's teachings, where he uses the hungry ghost metaphor to describe this aspect of ourself. This is also a very common theme in spiritual healing work. The concept that when we're born whole with a 360 personality. And traumas, either big or small, along the way teach us that it is not safe to be that full 360 personality. And that 360 eventually becomes narrower and narrower until we have this very narrow path of our personality. The persona that we show up in the world as. In Joe Dispenza's work, he describes the personality. That's not even who you really are. That's just a series of habits and actions and coping mechanisms that you've done so many times that you believe this is who you are. This is not the true self. In shamanism, there's a practice called soul retrieval. This is the concept that tiny parts of yourself actually fracture and break off and get stuck in a loop of that trauma that happened. These parts of yourself can be reintegrated through shamanic soul retrieval, shadow work, parts work, inner child work. But you can also feed the shadow, making the shadow become so powerful it can actually appear that a person is possessed by a demon. Oftentimes, the concepts of demons is actually a person's part of themselves that has broken off from not being loved or being neglected, not having their needs met. And if you keep feeding that shadow side of yourself, it can eventually grow so powerful that it actually starts to call the shots. I did a long deep dive on my YouTube about this topic. It actually explores how this concept could be the reason why some celebrities seem to be possessed or to have sold their soul. But it's actually the part of themselves that are deeply wounded and fractalized off. Instead of being nourished with healing, actually fed negative things like fame, greed, sexual proclivities, and taking advantage of people. That causes the shadow self to take over the real self. And this is actually why I think Lady Gaga was great casting. Lady Gaga was once a sweet girl named Stephanie. And this is a screenshot of the Facebook group that was created by her classmates to make fun of her, telling her she'll never be famous. And we know not only was that not true, not only would Lady Gaga become famous, she would then call herself the Fame Monster. And for those of you who don't know, Joaquin Phoenix grew up in a PDF file sex cult called the Children of God and is described by survivors as hell on earth. These severe types of trauma can cause the soul to fractal off and get stuck in a loop of trying to get those needs met. So for the people consistently saying, this movie was trash, you can say you didn't like it, that you didn't enjoy it. You can say that you didn't get it. You can say that you don't like their portrayal of the characters that you already loved. But it was not trash, okay? Now I hear a lot of other people saying, there's no plot to this movie. But a plot is just the sequence of events that make up the narrative, and it's basically cause and effect from one sequence to the next. What they mean is that it doesn't follow the traditional structure of Hollywood movies, and that it also doesn't follow the hero's journey. But to all of you saying, how dare they make the Joker weak, I walked out of the theater. You're just like the people in the courtroom that walked out on Arthur Fleck. I also saw some bad reviews say that he has no motive in the movie. What does he want? He wants to be loved and accepted like anybody else. And Harley Quinn, he thought someone finally loved him for him, but she just idolized his shadow. She projects her own shadow onto him, believing that it was his whole self. And many critics are talking about Arthur Fleck's behavior in prison, that it wasn't living up to who the Joker is. Let's talk about the BTK killer, which stands for blind torture kill, which he did to at least 10 victims. He was actually described as a prison pet, who the guards loved and was very well taken care of, and was known for his good behavior in prison. Or the Green River Killer, who had over 71 victims, and was described as very chill and low profile in prison. Or even the co-ed killer, who killed 10 people including decapitating his own mother, who in prison was described as bright, sensitive, and very intuitive. So I found this movie so deep and so beautiful, so moving. Yeah, I could have done with like 3 less musical numbers. And the people freaking out like they want a personal injury lawsuit against Warner Brothers for this? Calm down. Don't worry, there's at least 100 more superhero movies on the way. I was glad to see one that was deep and dark and psychological.
Shout out to JK Ultra, giving her take on the Joker 2 movie. I haven't seen it myself. Seeing it from this frame, it sounds interesting. I can't lie, I've been hearing bad reviews about it myself. Now I kind of want to see it. Let me know in the comments down below. Did you see it? What you think of it?
Correct.
Bone man. Mer ben.
What?
Yes. Actual bones.
Va?
Yes.
Var kommer det ifrån?
Jag vet inte. Här har vi också en... Jag vet inte vad det är. Plastfolie.
That's weird.
Så det måste ut alltså.
Yeah.
It's sort of weird how the camera shuts off like that.
Yeah, I shouldn't do that.
Yeah, there's some really creepy paintings down there.
You decide, you're the guide.
Yeah, sure. Let's go.
There's fur here. Weird. There's like fur everywhere.
Fur? And look at this.
That's creepy.
That's creepy, man.
Imagine if there's actually that guy here. Oh, 100 meters or something.
We found this document.
It's creepy.
Don't walk at the same time.
That's the train. Hello? Look at that shadow thing, that's so creepy. You see that? They're on the wall? Yeah? Man, this is too creepy. What the actual fuck? Yeah, this is yeah, it's a bed. It looks like a military bed or something, but a military bed doesn't have like wooden, I don't know, man. Why is there like gloves on it? One. Why do I hear constant weird noises? For seriously, I hear weird stuff. Can be the trains, but that like... Can we start finishing this? $19.99.
Yeah.
Listen to that. Seriously. Just the... Sound, yeah. It's there. That's wind. Going to the door. Show me. What's that a picture of? Yeah, it's super faded.
And that's a wrap. Hope you enjoyed tonight's rabbit hole. Before we go, want to give a huge shout out to Solving Green, his people, and Queen Serenity 1 on becoming the channel's newest member. Thank you. I appreciate your support. Peace and blessings. If you haven't already, please take a second
just to smash that like, subscribe, ring that notification bell,
just to make sure the algorithm know what's up. So what we gonna do, y'all? That's right. Run these numbers up. Thanks again. Until next time.